Hi, everybody. Welcome to Empire Life Monday Masterclass. We're with Rochelle Ruby. She is an online course expert, and she's here today to answer all of the Q&As that I have, that my clients have, her clients have had with her. And then we can't see your comments while we're broadcasting from Zoom. So we'll go back and answer any kind of questions that you may have or comments that you say there. And I'm also this is my first day of raw food cleanse, and I do a few every year, and I'm adding social media to it. So my team is still there to answer comments and DMs and reach outs and everything. But definitely Rochelle will be jumping in. So I'll hand it over to you to introduce yourself a little bit more if you want us to expand on that.
Sure. So I'm Rochelle. I've had 20 years of teaching experience. 8 of those have been online, where I've created 26 of my own courses, programs, memberships, where I had the amazing opportunity to teach 43,000 students in that 8 years, and had like an incredibly insane high completion rate. Of those 43,000 students, well over half of them bought more than 2, 3, and 4 of my products that I ever made. So I had a really fun time. So now I help other coaches, entrepreneurs, experts do the same, like take their expertise, their message, the impact that they want to make, and put it into courses that are thriving, that are getting their students massive results, but like doing it in a way that's fun, streamlined, efficient, and easy for the course owner, the coach, and stuff.
And who are your ideal clients that mostly you target or you are supporting right now?
My ideal clients, I like coaches, entrepreneurs, experts, practitioners that are looking to scale, that are looking to get the change that they want to make in the world, in their industry, out into more hands. That, most of my clients feel like, there's something more out there. I want to give more. I want to make a bigger impact. I want to make a change that I see. And that's the people that are just like, they just care so much. That's who I love to work with.
What I hear you saying is the people who they know they have something in their heart, and they're like, how do I actually get this out there, have this be something where people can buy it and then learn something or learn what they're aiming to teach them. No, I've heard you say a lot, and I absolutely love your Instagram and all the TikToks you've been doing, or the what are the short clips called again? The reels.
The reels,
right? Yeah. You're like an expert at the reels. They're incredible. But I've heard you say a few times how everybody has an idea for an online course. Everyone has something inside them that they are probably already an expert at and can teach other people. So it's like that person that comes to you, and maybe they've done high ticket programs, maybe they're doing one-on-one coaching, and they want something that's a little bit more evergreen, right?
Yeah. I think, yes, everyone has something to say, and only the way that they can say it. I mean, there's so many people out there, so many people have something to say, but then they don't say it because they're like, but everybody's already saying it already.
Oh my gosh, I've heard that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it makes sense. It's like, well, yeah, there are a lot of people doing what you do, but there's only one you, and you have different experiences, different knowledge, different approach to doing something. And so when I work with clients, I definitely am like, we can talk about it here too, but like, I'm all about, let's find out why somebody would come to you. Let's really like make it tangible. No, let's not just say, like, oh, because you're you. Yes, that's true. But there's so much more to it than that, that to making it a tangible thing that other people can see. Because you need to make that scalable. You aren't necessarily scalable. Your personality isn't scalable, but if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense that boiling it down to, okay, what are the top 5 modules that I can possibly teach here in the most concise way that I can convey exactly what I want them to learn or to gain in this online course. Or maybe you can walk us through maybe the 3 most common online courses that people are doing. There might be some where there's modules, there may be some where it's more like a get to know them, right? Like a video, maybe a short video presentation or lecture, or like the top 5 tips on enhancing your sales or increasing your sales. So it would be more of getting to know that entrepreneur so then they can work with them at a higher caliber level, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways you can package your expertise, serve. You could definitely do high ticket group coaching programs where it's you have the course content and you have live coaching, right? Then there's the courses, the courses where they come in and there's lessons, whether they be video, audio, PDFs. There's so many different ways you can do it, and then maybe have it more hands off where it's they go at their own pace. It's a DIY course. You can have the DIY course with a little bit of support that's not quite the full group coaching experience. You can have the small mini courses that are talking about a very specific topic. So if you have, when I was teaching sign language, for example, like there's so much more to sign language than just signs. There's signs, there's grammar, there's finger spelling, there's having conversations, there's practicing. So I had programs that covered the levels or segments of those pieces, and then I would have courses that were very niche, very targeted, like just for finger spelling or just for grammar or just this part of grammar. So you can go as small or as big as you want. And I often say you want all of it, right? You need to have this beautiful, cohesive product suite that just, because you want your students to stay in your
ecosphere, your ecosystem.
Yeah. And if there's more than one way you can serve them, the better, for you and for them. So,
for sure. And so let's say that you have all of that. You have one big umbrella that's more general and maybe covers a little bit of each one of those. And then there's the beginners level, mid-level, and advanced for what people need. And do you have the one that's like little bit of everything is a higher price, and then the smaller ones that are shorter courses are lower price? And how do you keep people in the pipeline? That's what I mean.
Okay, so you have, the more value you're giving, so the typically the courses that are either, if it's one topic but it's really deep and comprehensive, or the course that's covering multiple of the, your pillars, your pieces of content, your topics and stuff, like the full kahuna. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if that's a saying. Anyway, then yes, you would price that higher, so long as the value you match. Like if it's just like a taster of all of those, then you would still price it lower. But if it's like the whole thing, but pretty comprehensive, then definitely price it higher. And the more live components, touch points where they connect with you, definitely the higher the price. So how do you keep them all in your pipeline? You really have to, when you're creating your offers, you have to think about where your person is starting, all the pains, all the questions, all the doubts, all the challenges, all the hurdles, everything from the tiny to the big and all in between, right? And you have to say, okay, where do they want to be? And then also, you have to be realistic and be like, and where can I take them? Right? If you don't have the skill set to get them over there, I mean, that's another topic, but where can I get them? And then from there, you have to say, okay, you have to look at all of your products as one machine. So if they come in at this little mini offering, where are they going to go next? What's their next questions? What are their next hurdles? We've overcome this hurdle. What's going to happen next? What are they going to be thinking of next? What are they going to need? And not what we want to give them necessarily, but what they actually will need at that point in time. And then selling becomes so easy because they're like, oh, Allison just got me results here with this. Oh, I need help with this. Oh my gosh, she offers this. Perfect. How perfect is this? Okay, I'll do this next thing. And even if you have them coming into that higher tier offer, you can still say, okay, they might want to work on one of those smaller things. They might need a little bit more help with a smaller offering. So they don't always necessarily have to keep going up your pyramid of products, but you always want to find a way to naturally have one product at least lead to another one. So then you kind of seed that idea with inside the product, towards the end of delivering the course, you would start going, okay, now you're going to need to start thinking about this. Do you have a plan for this? If you don't have a plan for this, this is what's going to happen. And then towards the end, you're like, okay, here's how you do that.
I love that. So like in a video, let's say if it was a video course, or even in a PDF, it could be a sentence at the end, or if it was in video, it's like, make sure you click the link that's here in the video, like where people point there, and then someone can put it right there and they click it. It would be in the description that they can get more information about then the next offering, or like you said, the next solving of their pain points or their problems. And also I wanted to point out that I love email marketing sequences too. And there's ways that we can then automate this also with it being in the course content.
You have to.
And the email.
And the email. And you just synchronize them together. And it's beautiful. You're getting new students in all the time. So if you set your machine up right, a post that you did 3 years ago could pull somebody onto your email list, sell them a product, and keep them in, and they're buying product after product after product after just watching a video or however many videos. But if you set it up, you could just keep them in there for as long as they need to be in there. It's beautiful.
That is beautiful. That leads me to another.
I was able to do. That was how
that you were doing the. No, it's okay. You were doing the 47,000 students like that.
43,000 students on my own with just. I never ran ads. It was my content. Pulled them in with amazing opt-ins, like super mega valuable opt-ins. Blew their minds, and then just nurtured them and kept selling to them, and they just got in one. All these automations are just firing off.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
Later, they bought everything. I'm like,
that's beautiful. Okay, that leads me to my next question. I was gonna say is that, do you need, or would you suggest, let's say every one of those bigger courses or mini courses, do they need a short kind of intro video to help promote? Like you were saying, they see the video on the post, or can it be text and a picture? What do you suggest when they're first getting started? Like maybe what's more in their personality? What's that?
You definitely have to go where you shine, right? Where you feel, where you are best, where your talent, your personality is showcased the best, where you feel most comfortable. Videos are really great because it's an excellent way to connect with somebody, right? You can see their eyes, you can see their mannerisms, you can feel their energy, you can hear their voice. see them or whatever. And so it's faster at feeling like you're building a relationship. Podcasts are like that too. I'm biased because I'm more of a video person. I like to see faces. That could be just because I need to see a face to pay attention.
Yeah, I love the subtitles too. For me,
yeah. I always
it's like it goes more into my head with the closed captions.
For sure. But you can do it with anything. And you want to do it with as much as you can. Not saying you have to be everywhere, but you almost have to feel like you're everywhere. Like if you have a podcast, you need to be putting it on your website as, repurpose it as a post with the link that links back to the podcast. You want to pull the quotes and put that on Instagram or put that on Facebook or wherever social media platform you're in. Have an audio clip of it. If you're doing a video, have a video clip of it. Push people to it. You need to be always pointing from one platform to another and always getting people to that email list. So yeah, I don't know. I think I got off track of your question.
I understand what you mean, and I've had people tell me that before. It's like you're everywhere. It's like you're always online, and I'm thinking that's the point.
But you're not.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Or today I wasn't at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everything was running for you. Yeah.
Everything's going well.
If you set up those systems and I'm all about, let's be efficient. If I'm going to do one thing, I want it to work for me in like at minimum 2 different areas, right?
Yes.
And it's because I want to just leverage my time. If I'm doing this one piece of content, I want to be able to pull as much beauty and goodness and value out of it and use it for years and years to come. So if you do that, then you're not going to be like, oh, freaking content all dang day.
Exactly.
Where's my family? Where's my health?
I've been there, so yeah, I understand. Yeah, it can be easy. Yeah.
Okay, lesson learned. I got to do this way.
Lesson learned. I got to delegate a little bit more or plan it out like in chunks or take a whole Saturday to plan out content or half of the Saturday. I wanted to ask you too, this is a question that came up recently with a client of mine that when they're doing a mastermind or an online course, let's say, and everybody comes to a Zoom call or it's like a Facebook event that goes to a Zoom call, right? To be able to talk like with a coach. Yeah, like this, but
but like inside their course. I see.
Like inside their course, the coaching call. So there's multiple people on the coaching call. Have you ever heard about people asking for everybody's permission and then taking quotes from the mastermind call and repurposing that?
Yeah. Are they paid
like
students?
A video? Yeah, like paid students.
Oh yeah. Well, if you get people to sign a release.
Like a release or their
Yeah, you can do that. Or just get a verbal thing. Yeah, that's a great idea to do.
I think so. It's like live, they're in action. It's like a live testimonial of the kind of roadblocks or mind blocks that a lot of coaches are leading their clients through.
Yeah, you would definitely want permission. And I think even if they sign a release form for a coaching call, you'd want to ask for each one, just because, especially, say you're a divorce coach or relationship coach, people probably don't want some of that stuff out there, right? So
sure.
So you'd have to respect that or find a way to protect their privacy.
It might be better to get a video testimonial of them individually if they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It sounds like. And also quickly, if there's anything else that's coming up for you that you want to share, something else that I wanted to ask you is if someone is thinking, okay, I have these other offers, I'm doing one-on-one with clients on Zoom, which we can only have so many one-on-one clients, right, before we're hitting a glass ceiling. And I've done these other areas with these other offers, and I really want to do an online course. Like, what do I need? Like, what are the top 5 things I actually really need? Maybe like a webcam, a microphone, or not. Or I'm just wondering what you think. Resources?
That's what you're asking, what kind of resources do they need?
Or like, where do they actually start?
Where do you actually start?
Yeah, like if they were to be like, I have all this expertise already. I've already been coaching, let's say 10 years, and I'm ready to have a passive income, more of passive income. Where do I even begin? Because I'm sure you hear it all the time. It can be really overwhelming when you're thinking about, like you said, to building that structure and having things be more automated.
What I find is most people, when they're thinking about building a course like this, they get stuck in the details that don't matter. Like I'll get messages from people, which platform, Kajabi or Kartra? And they're like months trying to figure out what platform to use. I'm like, but what are you doing? And how are you going to show up? And what's going on here? We don't want to think about Kajabi, and they're like, oh, how many modules should I have? How long should the course be? How much should I price it? None of that matters. That's at the beginning of the time of creating your course. That's the wrong time to figure that out, because then it's like, what's an analogy I can think of? So if you're building lasagna, right? You're not building lasagna, you're like cooking lasagna, and you're like, okay, I need it to be really quick and simple and small. And I'm gonna just like, it has to fit in this pan, it has to fit in this Kajabi box, it has to be 5 modules, it has to be this price, and you cook the lasagna, but your recipe is for a 9x13 pan, but you are trying to cram it into that 5x5 pan. That's when, like, either you're going to have all this leftovers, you're going to try and cram it in, it's just not going to work. You're making the choices backwards. It feels like you're making them forwards, but you're actually making them backwards, where it's just like, okay, you say, okay, here's the recipe, this is what I want it to be like, this is what I want it to taste like. You cook it, and then you're like, okay, it goes in this 9x13 pan. That was a really rough and ragged analogy here, but I was like, it could have been better.
No, it was good.
But like, to show, like, it doesn't, you can't, or maybe, well, anyway, I won't go down that rabbit hole. I fix that analogy later. But suffice to say, you have to think about what it is. First off is like, you have to know your people. And if you've been coaching for a while, you absolutely know your people. And you're like, okay, what is the goal of this course? And not like, oh, I want to make money. Yes, we know that. That's not the goal we have for the course. What is the goal? The transformation of the course is what we first identify. And then we break that up into smaller goals. And then we figure out, why haven't they reached these goals already? What's going on that's preventing them? Because if they're anything like most people, right, before you go and buy a course or hire a coach, you've done research, right? You've probably tried, you've probably consumed information, you've read books, you've listened to podcasts, you've read articles, you've watched YouTube videos. And then there's a point where you go, okay, I'm ready to get better information, where you get a course or you get a coach. So we have to say, these people have the information. You can find that information for free anywhere, right? So we have to go, they have that information. Why are they still in that pain? And when you build the content that way, that's how you're getting people results. Like for instance, I was teaching sign language. How many places can they find sign language? Everywhere. And most of it's free, right? They can get it anywhere. So why can't they still sign? Why are they still not able to have a conversation with somebody in sign language? So like business, they know how to show up on Instagram. How many Instagram coaches are there on Instagram? They have the information. Why are they still not getting the results that they want? And that's where we build from.
That's where we build from. What I'm hearing you say too is, a lot of times it most likely, well, probably with the sign, and also in business, it has to do with that one-on-one, them being able to ask an expert, and then when they ask an expert in the group setting or in a community, then everybody who's an expert there, which most everybody will be kind of similar in their pain point because they've all came to the same course, that they'll all be exploring a similar, or they might have had that question, let's say 6 weeks before that, and they solved it, and then they're, oh, well, when I had that question, I was able to do this. So not only coming from the expert in the room, then also the other people who, for when I've run masterminds, that tends to happen when people
like group learning.
Yeah, the group learning and these huge transformations with, well, when I was experiencing XYZ, then I did this, and then I share what I would. A lot of times it's similar to what the other person did because they're also in my mastermind, and maybe we're enacting my guidance through them solving their own thing or transformation that they had 6 weeks before. And then
yes and no. Like the group learning is essential. Like it's a really good, it's an excellent tool to help people feel connected, to feel supported, to feel like they're not alone, to know that they're not alone, and to share ideas and grow. Absolutely. However, that's when we are saying, why aren't they getting this? These are the answers we need to have before we create the course. This is what we put into our course curriculum. Because if we're depending on that coaching, those group coaching calls, those live Zoom calls, the Facebook group that we're in, if we're depending on that to be where our students get those answers, we're never going to be able to scale. We're going to burn ourselves out. We can't rely on the coaching and the community to do the heavy lifting to help those students overcome those things. I'm saying we get the goal first, we figure out the sub goals that contribute to that big goal. And then we figure out why they haven't done that. Then from there, we figure out, okay, what do they need to overcome those problems? And it's all going to come down to it's actions they have to take. It's never more information that they need. It's always actions they take, habits they develop, skills they develop. And we put that and we make that content do the heavy lifting. And the coaching is where we expand on it, support it, love on them, kick them in the pants.
Definitely. Like the next action step, or how did that action step go for you? And what was everybody's experience with that? And or like a journal prompt. And does anybody want to share?
It could be anything.
Yeah,
really,
anything.
That's where you foster that community, that beautiful connection. And this is where you want. I always tell my clients, you want that community to be the place you want to be because you're going to be there, right? So I almost like you kind of want to be selfish when you're building a community. What do you want it to be like? And you make that community a place you want to be, enjoyable, supportive, where you can, share. It's almost like that mastermind feel, right? So so you can do when you have your content do that heavy lifting, then you have so much more space in your coaching calls and in your community to be playful, to have fun, to be creative, to do things, to have that, like you're saying, let's share what you're doing here. How is this going for you? Let's do this challenge together. Let's do this journal prompter, or let's practice this together. You have so much more space to do that when you're not relying on your coaching calls and the community to teach, because we don't want that to be where they're learning. We want that to be where they're playing, and it's safe for them to make mistakes. It's safe for them to ask for help. It's safe for them to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I completely agree. Another question that I have for you, we're going to do another masterclass next Monday. So I want to go into, because we have about 10 more minutes, and I want to go the next Monday into the top 5 misconceptions that people like that you were talking about, like maybe a rabbit holes that they go down. They get in a loop and you're like, please come out of this loop, please, for the love of God, stop asking me the same question.
Or just wanted to take freaking action and do it.
Just take action and do it. Like these are the starting points. And then also the top 5 questions that often come up for you with your clients and going more into details with those. But before we hop off, I was wanting to know, a question that comes up a lot with my clients is, okay, if I'm going to do this online course, do I have it be closed enrollment, like there's an enrollment period, or do I have it be revolving, like this constant evergreen and constant people coming in? And I wanted you to touch on perhaps the pros and cons about both of those, because, for example, we were just talking about, if, let's say, there's action steps in an online course, then if it's evergreen, that means that everybody's on different action steps. So then do we refresh and we talk about previous ones, or do we just keep going and then eventually we start over? That's where kind of sometimes complications come in. Like, where is everybody at in the online course if they've all started at different times? Or do they talk about, if they're all at different levels, let's say one's at level 1, or they're on journal prompt 1 or action step 1, do they say, hey, I'm on action step 1, and then someone else that's on action step 8 is able to answer their question because they've already gone over it? I would just like you to cover, like, what are some of the pros and cons, or maybe which one you like the best, because I feel there's a lot to both.
There's a lot to both. There is a lot to both. And I think in the end, if you're wanting to scale, so if you're wanting to grow your business to high levels and you want to be able to do multiple things, like multiple projects, have multiple service offerings, and eventually, if there's a time that you would ever imagine wanting to kind of step back and have more of a team take over, I really think the best way to do is evergreen. So what I typically say when I have my clients do is let's do evergreen, but then you can do these live promos, once a quarter or a couple of times a year, whenever strikes your fancy, right? Where maybe you want a surge of clients in, you need a surge of income, but still have it as this open enrollment. So you don't have a cohort where it's like, this is the March group,
right?
And then you close it. But I think there are pros to, I like the live cohorts. But especially as a newer person, if you're like, okay, I'm going to do this live cohort, my course is 3 months long, you only get new clients every 3 months, and you probably want a break in between. Like, you just ran this cohort, it was live, and you were in the group constantly, and you were coaching constantly, you're worn out, you want to go on freaking vacation before you launch again, and you've got to prepare for your launch again. So it's like, maybe you launch 3 times, or a lot of people just do it twice a year. So
like for 6 months, like every 6 months.
Yeah. So
they aim to get people in. And when you say live, when you say like a promo, you're meaning the going live more, talking about it, like,
I mean,
really ramping up.
Okay, I'm
like
gonna open
campaign.
the carts. I'm gonna open the cart on this date, and I'm gonna close it a week or 2 weeks later. That's what I mean by a live promo. So you have that time, that week or 2 weeks, to get all of your students in for the next round, and then you close it, and then they have to get on the wait list for the next round. I also don't like that, because most people, they might think about it for a long time, but when they're ready to buy, they're ready to buy, right? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've tried to get a product, like, I was wanting to, one of my plans for the next year is to start a podcast. And so I was like, well, yeah, I know, right?
I want to be on it. And you
I'll have you on, it'll be fun.
Come on ours too.
So I was like researching, I was like, I'm just going to go straight for a good resource in course. I don't want to mess around with free stuff. And so I was looking, and I found this one I really liked. Got to get on the wait list.
Oh my gosh.
And it like opened up 3 months later, and I was like, by that time I was like, no, I've already found something else. So a lot of that, I mean, that is a lot of the problem, but really you can grow really well, really easily with Evergreen. And if you create a really good, if you've got those funnels in place, all that machine leading from product to product to product, you don't want to lead them to the product and then they have to wait. They want to buy it now. They have the need now. So
they have the need now. Exactly.
Yeah. So we want to fix it now, or they're going to go somewhere else because somebody else is going to be open.
So what you're saying also, there's ways to entice them with different opt-ins, with, let's say, like Black Friday sale, like what's going on right now,
Yeah.
or
do those,
like,
so
let's say
do the Evergreen launches, but then do like a live special promo.
The live special promo, but they can still come in it. They just don't necessarily
get that promo. They can still come in anytime. Yeah, maybe you have like an extra bonus, or a special discount, or
like use this code and you can get a special discount just for that time.
Or you get an extra month in the program,
or an extra month.
You get a one-on-one call with me, or or this gift or this bonus that I created just for these people, like a little tiny mini course or something. There's so many ways you could do it. There's so much fun things you could do with it, and I think that's really important. But as far as the other part of your question, I know we're short on time, but how do you run an Evergreen group? And and there's so many ways you can run an Evergreen group. It's really actually very good for the community for the older people that have been in the program longer to look back and see these new people. It's really more motivating to them because they can see how far they've come, right? And then they can be a teacher, they can be a mentor, they can help. So that really lightens your burden, and they are really eager to cheer people on. And the new people coming in can go, oh my gosh, look, these people are ahead of me. They're doing well, they're getting results. And it's reassuring them, I made the right choice. I'm in safe hands. I'm in this community, and it really builds this trust amongst each other. But there's ways you can do, so circling back, like the question was like, oh, do we just go through the action steps, or there's so many different ways you could do it. Sometimes I had in different programs, I would just run through all, I always had a plan and a bunch of different types of calls that I would do. And I would, say, okay, if you're in this section, we're going to be going over here. Make sure, there's so many, I don't have enough time to go over.
Right, of course.
But you can have like groups, you can have levels. You can be like, if you're in this phase of the course, this is your call for this week. If you're in this phase of the course, this is your call. So you can break it up by levels, by phases.
Or it could be like questions
or just
that they have, just questions that they may have coming up that they, what's the most pertinent question or roadblock challenge that they're overcoming right now at the moment.
Totally. Questions. But there really is, there's so many cool things you can do with coaching calls that don't have to be just Q&As, that don't have to be just the hot seats. There's like a world of things you can do to really amp up their experience and amp up their results and make it fun. And when you do these different types of calls, it doesn't matter where they are in the course. Anybody can benefit.
Well, let's talk more about that too. How to spice up the actual calls in the program in your online course the next time.
Oh, for sure. My clients are always like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, here, do this. It's so much fun. I definitely have a whole section on that in my program.
That's incredible. And what's the name again of your program?
The Standout Coach. Standout Coaching. Standout Coaching program. Sorry.
Perfect.
Yeah. Super
nice.
Fun.
Well, we're about out of time, Rochelle. Yeah. It was amazing. I'm so glad that we finally got to connect. And I mean, we have connected, but like for this masterclass.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
We'll be back. We'll be back next Monday with answering more of your questions. Me too. And if any of you are watching this live or in the replay, do hashtag replay. Make sure that you say hi to us. And this will be on the YouTube channel, on our podcast website. It's empirelifeacademy.com/Empire Life Podcast. And pretty much everywhere that we can post it on.
Yeah. But not you.
Not me, my team. My team, we have a videographer now, and they'll be editing this and for YouTube and editing it for LinkedIn and all the places, and a short for Instagram. So you'll get to see Rochelle and her amazingness everywhere.